Welcome, writers. My name is Harule Stokes from HaruleStokesWrites.com, here to share some great writing information with you without all the BS rules and nonsense. This video is the final installment of my How to Write a Novel series for beginners. Yay! So while we're here, please hit that subscribe button as well as the bell icon to be notified of all future videos. So, without further ado and blathering on my part, let's get to work. As the final installment of my How to Write a Novel series, I'll be going over the things to do after you finally created something or you finished your work in progress. So if you missed the other installments of how we actually got here, feel free to go back, check them all out, and kind of tell me what you think. And does it help you get to this final point? At least you'll know how we got to this part. So let's get started with step one, which is my final steps, which I'm calling final steps. So as I previously stated, you finished your novel. Yeah, you're a badass. Then there's questions looming, which basically boils down to, is the shit I wrote any good? I mean, sure, you put months of and sometimes years of work into this piece, but you're still not sure if it'll receive praises or honestly people will laugh at you. You don't know. So what you do, as most people do, is that we ask our friends and family to check it out. Give it a read, tell me what you think. So as you, like most people do, most writers do, artists do, we kind of want to be validated. But we know in our hearts that this is the bomb. What we wrote is the shit. So all your friends say, yeah, it is. They think your story is great. Your mom thinks it's the best thing she's ever read. Everyone you know says this is really good. But because of your friends and family, you kind of still have doubts. And honestly, you should have doubts. Friends and family suck at critiquing the people they love. So it's important for us writers to find people that'll give us the straight dope about our work. The last thing we need is people blowing smoke up our asses. In fact, a good way to retard your progress is to not hear honest criticism of your work. But look, our friends and family love us, so the rose-colored glasses that they're wearing aren't meant to harm us, but sadly they do just that by not being able to see through their love for us. And I'm so sorry people love you. Tough shit. Anyway, we're artists, and none of us are strangers to the desire of wanting validation through others. It's just part of what we do. That's what our work is. It's about sharing. And honestly, it's really normal to feel that way. So on this note of doubt, let's discuss part one, which is actually critiquing. And it's incredibly important for writers to find people that'll give it to us straight. So it's a good idea for you, the writer, new writers especially, to kind of get in contact with a writing critique group. Of course, in person is best, but online is better than no critique group at all. So find some critique group. Okay, why am I advocating critique groups? I'm not running one. I'm not running a paid one. I just believe that critique groups are great for one singular reason. They give unbiased opinion. Sure, your friends and family can review your work, but they have an emotional investment in not trashing your piece. In fact, think about it. It's in their best interest to maintain their relationship with you. So they tend to see the best in you. Of course, they love you. And they love anything that you do. So it's imperative that you find people that are committed to telling you the truth about your work. Partly because they want to get the same answer from you. They want the same honesty from you. That's why they're there. In fact, that's the entire point of a critique group. They're there to give honest reviews and to point out any flaws in your writing, with the goal of making each other's writing better. Plus, you have the added bonus of being exposed to a wide range of different writing skills and tactics. It always helps to see what's possible. It'll all add to your toolkit, the tools you use to write your stories, and you get to see how other people use their tools. Maybe you can adopt some. Okay, You've gotten great reviews from your critique group. Everybody loves you. It's time to seek out the pros. So if you want to publish, I would suggest you get a paid editor if possible. But if you're too broke for that, you can also go back to your critique group and ask that they really kind of go through it more rigorously. And it's actually possible to publish without a hired gun, but I would not recommend it. And let me actually go through, I'll go through some of the details about it, but if you have the money, hire an editor. Sometimes two of them, which actually leads to part 2 now. There are different types of editing, different editing types. So what I was going to do originally was I was going to kind of talk it all out, just sit here and kind of go through every one, but I'm not going to do that. Instead, all the specific details, I'll write them below so you guys can see it. So let's get to it. The first one is called developmental edits. This editing type is the kind of a big picture. They focus on the pacing, the characters, the point of view that you're using, tense consistency. They actually sniff out plot holes and review your overall plot. Plus, they dig into subplots. They even chop up your dialogue to check it out. If there's any weak link in there, they're going to expose it and they're going to push it to you to fix it. And this developmental type is actually pretty expensive. But let me note, most of this should be covered in critique group actually. So you can sometimes avoid this really high level editing if you have somebody there who's honestly going to look at your work. Next, you have substantial editing. Substantial editing considers a work's organization and presentation. It involves really tightening up and clarifying it chapter by chapter, scene by scene, paragraph by paragraph, and sometimes people even do it on a sentence level. Now, they're not looking for typos, they're looking for story problems. But it's not the same level as developmental editing. They're kind of doing a closer in zoom in, and so it's more like a shorter version. And then there's line editing, which is sometimes used kind of interchangeably as copy editing. Line editing is just the name. It's just as the name implies. It's a line by line, sentence by sentence review of your work. Now, this editing type is the one I like to use. Having someone really dig into your lines, making sure that the grammar is correct and the technical aspects are perfect. And if you do break the rules, know why and do it purposely. So you can kind of have some cohesiveness and strengthen your story. And then finally, you have proofreading, which is kind of a light form of editing. It's used to apply that final paint or polish on your work. A proofreader will check any mechanical errors, like in spelling, like making sure the grammar is perfect, punctuation, stuff like that. And actually, proofreading is really not that expensive. So, if anything, don't skip on this one. At the very least, avoid publishing a book riddled with typos. I don't want to read that. So please don't do that. All right? Please don't do that. And if you're hiring an editor, I will get a list of exactly what the prices cover for each type of editing they're offering. Also, check how many times they're going to do a pass, whether 2 passes, 3 passes before they say they're done. So in my opinion, I wouldn't publish a book without at least someone else providing at least a proofread. For me, as a writer, it's really hard to self-edit, so I don't do that on my own. It's kind of what I do when I look at a page. I'm not looking at the word for word. I'm looking at kind of intuiting information that's not actually in the text, which is why I'm not able to. And finally, part 3 is choosing an editor. That's not easy. I know you would probably go for price, but don't. Pay attention to your editing samples that you receive back. Yeah, you're gonna need to send samples, and your editor is gonna mark them up for you, send them back to you, so you get to see how they work and actually see whether their style of editing meshes with your style of writing. Some editors have specific genres that they work on, some don't. Those that don't, it might be a little problematic because there are specific expectations for each genre, and that the editor who specializes, they'll be able to pick up on it, while generalists won't. Then you have the editors that were probably writers. You don't like them. While you may run into these folks, know that everyone doesn't write the same, which is why you don't ask your fellow writers so easily to edit your work. Like if you ask me to edit your work, I'll edit it. I'll edit that bastard to be my story because that's how I write. I would want it to be how I would write it. And a good editor, a really good one, will enhance your writing, never dominate your writing style. Finally, I'm asking you to be brave. You may think that they're the boss, but no, you wrote it. You're the boss. So don't let anyone change what you wrote. not without your explicit approval. I mean, if you didn't break any grammar rules, or you didn't do it on purpose, or when you did it on purpose, whatever it is, if you made a choice in your writing, you keep that in your writing. I mean, that's how you see it. That's how you're conveying information. And that's really personal. So hold on to how you relay information. I mean, that's you. So don't edit you out of the story. Or, don't allow an editor to edit you out of your own story. All right? I really hope you folks enjoyed these series. And I'm kind of done with all the blathering anyway. So subscribe below. Hit the bell icon to be notified when my next video drops. And I'll probably drop another one. I'll try to get it on Tuesday again. And yeah. Remember, ultimately, it comes down to writing. So, no excuses. Just write. Peace.